Thank you for joining us for today's message. We believe we can go anywhere in the world from right here in Marque, Texas, and reach people just like you. If you'd like more information about Abundant Life, please visit ALCC.org. You can also text the number below if you would like to support the church financially. Be ready for a powerful message that's going to impact your life.
1 Samuel chapter 1 tonight, and we're going to talk tonight about the topic really of frustration. I don't know if anybody ever gets frustrated. It's on Mother's Day today. Happy Mother's Day to the mothers again. My mom's watching, so Mom, happy Mother's Day. She is in Idaho with my aunt today, so they're chilling in Idaho, and so they said they were watching. So happy Mother's Day, Mom. I wore this shirt because Mom's rule, so happy Mother's Day. To all the mothers, happy Mother's Day. We wouldn't be here without you. I saw somebody on the internet wrote a card that said, happy Mother's Day, Mom. Without me, you wouldn't be a mom, so I'll expect my present on the table. I thought that was pretty clever. So we're going to talk today just for a few minutes about frustrated fixers and people that are frustrated that need to be fixed. I don't know if you've ever been frustrated before. I have. I've been frustrated. You say, Josh, you seem like you're so cool. How could you ever be frustrated, right? We had family over today to the house. Everybody was over. Everybody was great. Food was awesome. Everybody had a good time. The kids behaved. Everybody left. Catherine said, hey, can you hang out with the kids? I want to take a bath. It's Mother's Day. Just give me, 15 minutes. I was like, that's cool. 30 minutes later, McLaren had climbed on a table, fallen off. Maverick had hit Mercy with a pot and then ran into the wall. So I got 3 screaming kids. I don't know where Kat is. I'm trying to watch golf on TV. There's dishes that need to be done. I got to prepare for a message tonight. So needless to say, I was a little frustrated. I was like, God, don't let my kids die while Catherine is in the bathtub. Like, wait till she gets out of the tub so I can half blame it on her. Everybody's fine. Everybody's safe. Nobody's hurt, so we were okay. But that is an average day in my life at this point. I'm like, God, let these kids grow up a little bit. And I'm sure when they get older, I'm going to be like, Lord, I wish they were still just 1 and 3, but who knows? 1 Samuel chapter 1, verse 2, we're talking about frustrated fixers and the frustrated that need fixing. And it said, Elkanah had 2 wives, verse 2 of 1 Samuel chapter 1. One was named Hannah, and the other was named Peninnah. And Peninnah had children, but Hannah had none. And year after year, this man went up from his town to worship and sacrifice to the Lord Almighty at Shiloh, where Hophni and Phinehas, the 2 sons of Eli, were priests of the Lord. And whenever the day came for Elkanah to sacrifice, he would give portions of meat to his wife Peninnah and to all her sons and daughters. But to Hannah he gave a double portion, because he loved her, and the Lord had closed her womb. Because the Lord had closed Hannah's womb, her rival kept provoking her in order to irritate her. This went on year after year. Whenever Hannah went up to the house of the Lord, her rival provoked her till she wept and she would not eat. And her husband Elkanah would say to her, Hannah, why are you weeping? Why do you not eat? Why are you downhearted? Do I mean, or don't I mean more to you than 10 sons? And that's where we're going to stop. So you've got Elkanah, the husband. He's got 2 wives, Peninnah and Hannah. Peninnah's got kids. Hannah has none. And Elkanah is a good husband, from what we can tell. He's a decent guy. And Hannah is a good wife, and really Peninnah probably is too. The problem is we've got one lady, one wife that has children, and we have one wife that has none. One has children, which is what every wife wants to do, and the other doesn't have any children. And so the one with children provokes, she laughs at, she makes fun of, she mocks Hannah, the one without children. And so Elkanah is offering Hannah a double portion because he says, man, am I not enough for you? Am I not more to you than 10 sons? Am I not good enough? That's where Elkanah comes. And we're going to get to this in a second because everybody falls into a couple things. But I want to just really quick hit on something that I think a lot of people look at this and they read this and it says, and the Lord shut her womb. And so a lot of times people, what they think is that because Hannah had done something in her past, like they think surely Hannah had done something a long time ago that caused God to close her womb and keep her from having children. It was because of what she had done. But I'm just going to go ahead and clear the air right now. That's bad doctrine. It doesn't work like that. God doesn't play like that. That's not the way God works. Because of what you did in the past, God is not going to punish you today because of what you did yesterday. Now, your actions may have consequences, but it's not God that's punishing you. And so God did not, in that sense, close her womb. I thank God that he was able to use a closed womb to get Hannah the miracle that she was believing for, but it wasn't God that caused the problem. You see, God doesn't do evil to you. God only has good for you. You see, if that doctrine is true, if God was paying her back for some evil that she had done, then I can't make sense of the evil wife, if we can call her that, Peninnah, who's laughing and mocking Hannah day after day, year after year. How come she had children? So why would God bless the evil one and not the righteous one? It just doesn't equate to me. So that must mean that God is a good God, if we're going to just bust it down to the simplest of terms. God is a good God that only does good. I'm a studier. I study things. I study people. Before I got married, I studied marriage. Before I had children, I studied children. I study preachers. I study history. If I'm going to go to a new restaurant, I study their menu. I want to know what they've got. Like, I'm a studier. That's just the kind of person that I am. I like to research things. And so in researching how to be a good husband and how to be a good father, I've learned some things about men and women. And again, these are very basic things. But most of the time when you look at it, men are from Mars and women are from Venus. You recognize these things. But what you end up seeing is that men are fixers. I noticed this in my own relationship with Catherine. Men are fixers. Men want to fix things. And women are, they'll end up fixing it too. But it's different, because what happens is when something's wrong, men want to immediately step in and just fix the problem, be done with it. But women a lot of times don't want to just have a fixed problem. They want to figure out what's going on and kind of work their way around the problem. Women like to listen. They like to absorb. They like to sympathize and empathize. Now, I'm not saying any of that is right or wrong. It just is what it is. But I noticed this in my own relationship, that Catherine will be talking to me about something, and she'll be, talking and 1 minute goes to 5 minutes and 5 to 10. And sometimes I'll just stop her in the middle of the conversation and I'll give her the answer that will fix the problem. But then she just gets a little upset at me because she didn't want the answer. She wanted to talk about what was going on, because she in her mind was dealing with what's going on, and she wanted somebody to listen. And a lot of times as men, I know me personally, I make this mistake a lot of times, is instead of listening and just listening, my mind wants to immediately fix the problem. I want to go to, this is how you solve it. Let's be done with the conversation and talk about something else. But she doesn't want that. She wants to discuss and have a conversation about what's going on. And again, it's not right. It's not wrong. It is what it is. Sometimes you've got to compromise in how you do things. So I've learned that I'll fix the problem in my mind, but my mouth will stay shut. Because if I talk about it, then it just gets me in trouble. And then we got to fix that problem too. And so I learned a long time ago, just shut your mouth and everything will be cool. Don't fix it, just listen. Guys, you probably know what I'm talking about. Wives, you definitely know. You're like, yeah, my husband's an idiot like you. And but watch this. So Elkanah, the husband here, he's a fixer. He's somebody that knows how to see a problem and knows how to fix it. And the thing is he loves Hannah, and of his two wives, he loves Hannah the most. He loves her more than he loves Peninnah. Even though Peninnah has given him an heir, even though she has given him children, he loves Hannah more than he loves Peninnah. The problem is he can't fix Hannah's problem, and it makes him upset. So now Hannah's frustrated because she doesn't have any children, but Elkanah is frustrated because he can't fix Hannah. And every time he looks at Hannah, Hannah's upset, and she's angry, and she's bitter, and she's broken, and she's disappointed. And Elkanah looks at her, and he sees her every day when he wakes up, and he looks over at her, and he's like, he can't figure out what to do. I can see him looking at me like, you never close your eyes anymore when I kiss your lips. There's no tenderness like before in your fingertips. Right? You know what I'm talking about? You're trying hard not to show it, baby. But baby, you know it. You know what I'm talking about, right? You've lost that love and feeling. Right? You know what I'm talking about? Oh, that love. And you've lost that love and feeling. Now it's gone, gone, gone. Oh, you know what I'm talking about? I mean, I only know that from Tom Cruise. I don't know. But watch, that's what he's saying. He's like, baby, you've lost that love and feeling. What happened to the spark that we had when we got married? And now you're just broken. And because of your brokenness, I'm broken. You're frustrated, and I'm frustrated. I am a frustrated fixer, and you are someone who's frustrated that needs fixing. And so today I'm going to talk to both people, because some of you are frustrated fixers, and some of you are frustrated and you need fixing. Now, neither one of those makes you right or wrong. You just are in one of the categories at some point in your life or another. You see, Hannah is at a place where she's upset because she has unfulfilled expectations. She had an expectation when she was little that she was going to get married someday and then she was going to have children. And that was her expectation. So she got married, but she doesn't have children. And day goes by, and year goes by, and decade goes by, and she still doesn't have children. And everyone else around her is having children, so she has these unfulfilled expectations, and her issue becomes bigger than her encouragement. Her issue is bigger than what people can encourage her. And that's a scary place to be in. Because if someone can encourage you enough that it gets you above the issues in your life, you're doing okay. But the problem is when the issues get too big that the encouragement can no longer get you above the issues, that's when you get into a scary place. And that's where Hannah was. She was in a bad place worrying about when it was going to happen to her. So today we're talking to the Elkanahs, who are the frustrated fixers, and we're talking to the Hannahs, who are the frustrated that need fixing. You see, in your life, you should be happy. God wants you to be happy. But so many of us have one issue. We have one thing that everything else in our life is great, but there's that one thing that keeps us from being truly happy. And I don't know what that one thing is. I don't know what that one area that's unfulfilled in your life is. I don't know what it is. But the thing about unfulfilled areas in our life is it tends to affect everything else. It tends to taint everything else. A while back in my car, I don't allow food or drinks in my car. I got a car with white seats, which was probably not the best idea with 3 children. I have white leather seats in my car. And so I just made a rule, no food, no drink. That's just Dad's rule. I've broken that rule I break that rule because it's my car. But for Mercy, that's my rule. And so the other day, I broke my rule, and she had a cup of milk in my car. And she spilled the milk on the floor of my car, but I'd forgotten that she'd spilled the milk in my car. And about 3 days of sitting in the sun later, I got in my car and I was like, my God, what is that smell? I was like, this is terrible. My car shouldn't smell like this. And I didn't know what it was. I couldn't for the life of me. I cleaned it out. I was like, is it my shoes? I don't know what it is. I cleaned the whole car. I couldn't figure out what it was. And finally, I'm on my hands and knees smelling everything in that car. And I find the floor mat that had spilled milk on it. And I was like, oh my gosh. I threw it away. I said, this is ridiculous. I can't handle it. Now the carpet even smells like it. And so I went and I got it detailed. And then I went and got it detailed again. And I'm like, I was doing everything I could. But watch, I said that to say this. I've got a lot of carpet in the car. I have bigger floor mats in the car, but one spoiled floor mat made my entire vehicle smell for a solid week. Look, you can have a great life, but you've got one area in your life that you can't get fulfillment in, and all of a sudden that one area destroys everything else if you allow it to. if you don't eradicate those feelings, if you don't take that unfulfillment and figure it out, and be like, I may not find fulfillment like I think I'm going to, but I'm going to be happy with where I am. That's what the Apostle Paul said. He said, I've been high and I've been low, but I have figured out how to be happy where I am, where God has put me. And that doesn't mean I got millions in the bank, and that doesn't mean I'm living in a brand new house and driving a brand new car, and I've got everything I've ever wanted, but it means where I am, I'm going to be happy, and where I go tomorrow, I'll be happy, and I'm going to make a decision that regardless of if I get what I want, I'm still going to have some joy in my life. Hannah was in a bad place. She had one thing wrong that wouldn't let her enjoy what was right. And so that one thing was robbing her joy. One broken area, and the problem was it felt like an indictment against her. She felt like she had done something wrong, like she was broken in some way. And so the problem with many of us is we take an issue that's really not about us, and we make it about us. We make it what it was never meant to be. And we take an issue that has nothing to do with what we've done or really who we are, and we take it and we wear it around like a name tag. That broken area in our life. And so the Bible says that Hannah goes up every year with Elkanah to sacrifice, and he would give portions of meat to Peninnah and her sons and daughters, but to Hannah, he gave a double portion because he loved her the most. He loved her more than everybody else, but she had that one area. Moms, a lot of times, I think, get these areas where, you know, we saw it today in Jennifer Gover's monologue. I thought it was so great because that's exactly the life of a mom. I'm seeing that in Catherine. I saw Catherine as just my wife, but now I see her as a mom. And I saw her as a mom of one, but now I see her as a mom of three. And a mom of three, I got so much respect for her because a mom of three is a different world. I don't know how moms go with 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. People ask me all the time, you guys going to have more? I'm like, no, we're done. We're done. We wanted 2, we got 3, I'm done. Door is closed, it's over, it's done, I'm not having any more. I can barely handle 3. I'm keeping 3 alive at this point. That's all I got. I can't, 4, I don't know what's gonna happen. We're gonna send one to grandma and grandpa's, I don't know. But I'm like, man, I'm at home with the kids, the 3 of them and me for an afternoon, and she's at home with them every single day. I'm like, I don't know how you do it. I tell her all the time, I was like, you are a superhero. I don't know how you do it. But the problem with most moms is moms are underappreciated. And so today we take the day to appreciate you, and it's cliche, everybody says it, but every day should be Mother's Day. Every day should be the day, man. You should buy 364 more Mother's Day cards and send one to your mom every single day, just telling her how great she was, telling her thank you for changing my diapers when I was a kid, and thank you for feeding me, and thank you for praying for me, and thank you for caring for me, and thank you for doing everything for me when I couldn't do it for myself. I mean, that's the reality of it is that every day should be Mother's Day. Every day, because moms are underappreciated. I don't know, moms, if we tell you enough how thankful we are, but we thank you today, if not any other time for the year. But to the moms today, I just want to say you can't take somebody else's brokenness as a failure of yours. Because a lot of times we do that as just people. You take somebody else's brokenness, somebody else's mistakes, and you take that as an indictment against you that you've done something wrong. Talk to moms all the time where they're like, man, my kids are on drugs. My kids are, going out and partying. And my kids are, messed up. My kids are, in jail. My kids are all this and that and this and that and this. And they're like, man, what did I do wrong as a parent? You know what my answer most of the time is? Probably nothing. Maybe you were messed up. Maybe you were a bad mom. I doubt it, but maybe. But the reality of it is the second that your kids got a mind, they made decisions. They made their own decisions, so you can't take somebody else's bad decision and put it on yourself and say somehow, well, I'm a terrible mom because my children made bad decisions. That's not the way it works. They have their own mind. They make their own decisions. You did your best. And if you didn't do your best, start today doing your best. Start today and say, you know what, I may not have been the best that I could, but I'm going to start right now and be the best that I can be. And that's not just to the moms, that's to the dads, that's to the husbands, that's to just the men and women of this church. You can start today and be the best that you can be. You don't have to wait. But you can't take somebody else's brokenness and count it as a failure of yours. Elkanah was in a place where he was successful in everything he did. He had money, he had cattle, he had nice houses, he had everything. He had all the success, and he found his security in the things that he had and his performance. And I don't know if you're like that. I am a lot of times. I find my security in how well I perform, how well I do, and how many friends I have, and my activities oftentimes in my own mind determine my value. I find my identity, I find my security in the way I do things. And so if something goes wrong, a lot of times that's like a baseball bat hitting my confidence. Today, for instance, kids are falling, kids are getting hit with pots, kids are running into walls. So now in my mind, I'm like, my God, I'm a failure of a father. I mean, I know I'm not. I think I'm the greatest father there ever was. If they were giving out Dad of the Year awards, I think I would win. But just not today, you know. But, I mean, the reality of it is, man, is those thoughts are going through my mind like, man, what is wrong with you as a dad that your kids are beating each other up, you know? And those of you that got kids that are older than mine, you're like, man, get used to it because it's about to happen. But, I mean, the reality is my identity, my success oftentimes is wrapped around my performance in what I do. And so that leads me, you know, I mean, I like to, for Catherine as a husband, I'll buy her really nice gifts because my identity is wrapped up. And she's like, I could care less about the stuff you buy me. I could care less. And I love it because I got kids now, so I'll be like, hey, Mercy, here's some paint and a paper. Make Mom an awesome gift, you know, and it's free. So that's even better. But I'm that kind of person that I have an identity, and my confidence is tied up in what I do. And that's who Elkanah was. His confidence, his security, his identity was tied up in who he was and what he did. And so when he sees Hannah, his wife, failing and hurting, he takes that as an indictment against him. And he thinks that, man, it's all about me. All of this failure, all of this problem is about me. Look at your neighbor and say, it's not about you. Look at your second choice neighbor and say, you either. It's not about you. Hannah was in a place where she had an issue, but the problem is she was thinking it was a failure on her part, but it wasn't about her. It was just an issue. And the purpose that she knew she had was frustrating her. And you see, the thing is Elkanah wants to fix Hannah. So what does he do? He tries to fix her by giving her more. By giving her more of him. He says, I'll give you a double portion. Everybody else got one T-bone. I'm giving you the porterhouse. I'm giving you a double portion. That's what he did. He tried to fix her by giving more of him. But to the frustrated fixers today, those of you that are trying to fix something, but you can't fix it because you're not capable of it, you're not able to, and you're frustrated, I got a word for you. Stop trying. Stop trying to fix somebody else's problems. The reality is you'll probably not be able to do it. You know why you're not going to be able to do it? Not because you're not a good person, not because you're not a good fixer, but because it's not your job to fix their problem. It's God's job to fix their problem. So if you want to really fix it, give it to God and let God do what God knows how to do best. Let God fix the problem. Because you've been trying, but you're not going to be able to do it. I don't know, probably 20 years ago, there was a movie, Jerry Maguire. I don't know if anybody ever saw Jerry Maguire. Big thing, Jerry Maguire walking into the elevator, and he sees somebody do sign language, and the sign language said, you complete me. And so that was like the tagline. So everybody forever was being like, you complete me, to their girlfriend and their spouse, and you complete me. That was the whole context, and that was everything. Everybody was like, oh, you complete me. But you got to realize something. You don't complete somebody else. Not really. I mean, you can say it, and you can act it, and you can feel it, but the reality of it is nobody can complete somebody else. You can come into agreement with them, and you can help them, but the reality is only God can complete you. But the problem is so many of us as husbands or wives or fathers or mothers, we try to complete the other side of our equation. But you can't complete each other, because what's going to end up happening is in trying to complete somebody else, you'll end up repelling one another with resentment. You say, why would we do that? Because when you realize that you can't complete them and they can't complete you, you'll resent them because they weren't what you expected them to be. And you're not what they expected you to be. If you come in saying, I can complete you, it's not going to happen. What do? You have to allow God to do what God does. And only God can truly complete you. Only God can do what God can do. And you see, so we end up seeing things, and we end up seeing relationships, and everybody's got relationship goals. And everybody sees everybody else get the stuff that they want. Can you imagine Hannah not having children, but Peninnah, the other wife, having children time after time, sons and daughters, and Hannah's looking at this, and she's like, when's it going to be my turn? You see, we live in the world of social media, so everybody can see everybody at all times. And so what happens when you have something you're believing for, when you have something you're hoping and dreaming for, and somebody else posts it online? They got pictures of it on their Instagram. They're tweeting about it on Facebook. It's all over the place. And I don't know if anybody else is like me. I want a Jeep Wrangler, right? I want a 4-door Jeep Wrangler. I don't need a brand new one. I just want one. I've been wanting one for a while. Kat won't let me buy one, but I'm going to wear her down. I want a Jeep Wrangler. Every time I talk about getting a Jeep Wrangler, do you know what I see everywhere? Jeep Wranglers. I see them all over the place. I'm like, my God, everybody on my street must be driving a Jeep Wrangler. Everybody's got one. Because I'm talking about it. I'm thinking about it. And so it's what I'm thinking about, so it's what I'm seeing. And so what happens is what you're believing for, what you're hoping for, what you're praying for, you're thinking about. And what you're thinking about is what you're going to see. And so all of a sudden the enemy takes that and he twists it in your mind. And now you're starting to say, everybody else is getting what I've been praying for. God, why do you give it to everybody else but you don't give it to me? But the reality is everybody else isn't getting it. In your mind, it looks like everybody else is getting it. And so now those hurts and those pains get deeper and deeper. And so you're unhappy. And your unhappiness leads to anger, but now you're angry because you're unhappy. And so now, because of your anger and your unhappiness, you get unhappy about the anger that you have because of your unhappiness, and that anger leads to more unhappiness, and you get caught into a vicious cycle of anger and unhappiness. And now you're broken down and beat up, and you're angry at God, you're angry at your spouse because they didn't complete you, and God didn't give you what you wanted, and now you're looking for an answer. So you're either a frustrated fixer or you're frustrated and you need fixing. The thing is you can't look to other people to be able to do what only God can do. And so we look to everybody else to fix us. Help me, fix me, do this, teach me. What do I need to do? The thing is you just need to give it to God. Elkanah tried to fix by giving steak, but steak wasn't the answer. Steak wasn't what she needed. She needed an answer from God. She needed God to intervene, but he was trying to be more of him to fix the problem. You see, so many times in life we get into these cycles and we get into these issues and really we deal with these addictions of whatever it is. Everybody's got an addiction to something. You know, I'm addicted to I want people to like me. I want people to affirm me. I want people to think that I'm cool. I want people to think that I'm okay. I don't like walking into some place and, you know, when I walk into the room, 2 or 3 people are laughing at whatever they're laughing at, but somehow in my mind they're laughing at me. So I'm starting to look, make sure my zipper's pulled up, make sure that I don't have, you know, snot on my shoulder from one of my kids, and, you know, I don't have throw up on my shoes. Like, I'm looking like, what is wrong with me? I'm trying to fix my hair, making sure I don't have lettuce in my teeth. Like, I'm fixing me thinking that they're laughing at me, but they're laughing at something they saw on the internet. Has nothing to do with me. But in my mind, I'm addicted to them thinking I'm okay. I'm weird like that. I'm sorry, but it's true. I'm working on it. Need that affirmation. Need that somebody to say, hey, you're doing all right. But you know what? The only way to break addiction is to stop doing what you're addicted to. How many of y'all know it doesn't work? If you're addicted to cocaine, that you say, instead of doing 2 lines of coke today, I'm just going to do 1. I'm just going to do a little of what I'm addicted to and it'll be okay. If you're addicted to pornography, don't just look at 5 minutes of clips. I used to look at 10, but I'm only looking at 5, so I'm really not as addicted as I used to be. No, you're just as addicted. Because if you want to stop being addicted to something, you got to stop what you're addicted to. You got to put a stop to it. You say, well, it's not that easy. I know it's not, but you've got to do it if you want to be free. But the great news is, watch this, you don't have to do it alone. That's why God is so great. That's why God is God. Because God steps in the mix with you and He helps fix you. He helps get you away from what you're addicted to. So I'm addicted to affirmation. So now I'm at a place where I don't care if you affirm me. I don't care if you like me. I mean, maybe a little bit, but I don't. I used to call my mom after every message and say, Mom, did you watch? Did you think it was okay? Because I didn't hear anything from anybody else. Now, I'm not asking you to come and tell me, man, that was great, because my mom will tell me. I don't need you to tell me that. But I used to call every single time, Mom, was it all right? Because I don't think these people like me. She's like, how could anybody not like you? I said, I know, right? I agree. How could anybody not like me? I'm just. It's true, though. How could you not? It's crazy, But the thing is when you've got those areas, you've got that issue, you've got that broken heart, you've got those messed up, fractured places in your life, trying to fix what you can't control will frustrate you. There are some things in your life that you can't control, you have no control over. And if you try and fix what you can't control, all you're going to do is end up being in frustration. At work, if your boss does something that you can't control and you have no way to change it, stop being angry about what they do, because you can't fix it. So what it's going to do is it's just going to frustrate you. So just shut your mouth and do your job, or quit and get another job. Do what you got to do. But if you if you're angry because of something that you can't fix, that's why I've just made a decision with whatever president we have. I don't get angry about it. I don't get angry about the decisions that are made, because I can't fix their decisions. So I just support the office. Heard somebody say the other day, they were hating on the president, and they said, man, hating the president is like wishing that the airplane you're on would go down. I support whatever president we got because I'm supporting our country. And so I'm believing that they're going to make the right decisions. Now, do they always make the right decisions? No. But I'm not going to be frustrated over something I can't fix. I'm just going to say, hey, man, I support them. Right or wrong, I support the office. And I'm believing for good things. Trying to fix stuff you can't control will do nothing but frustrate you. So what do? You got to give it to God. You got to give it up. And truly give it up. Don't just say, hey, God, I'm giving this to you, and then grab it right back from Him. Because that's not going to work. You got to give it to God and let it go. You got to say to your husband, say to your wife, I love you, but I can't fix you. I'm not the one that can fix you. I wish I could, but I can't. Only God can fix you, and you can't fix me. I know we wish we could, but the reality of it is only God can fix us. You've got to put your trust in God. Put your trust in His ability. And watch this. When you put your trust in God, when you allow God to fix your frustration, to fix those areas that are holding you back and locking you down, when you allow God to fix those areas, you know what He does? Is He makes you an instrument. He all of a sudden turns your life into an instrument that others will be able to receive because of who you are, because of what you went through, because of what you've done. All of a sudden, because Hannah was barren, God allowed Samuel to be born. Samuel was born and he became a prophet, all because Hannah was in a broken place. But she said, God, I can't do it alone anymore. Elkanah can't fix me. I can't fix me. So God, I'm giving this to you. And the second she did, God gave her a son, and that son became a prophet, and he wrote 2 books of the Bible. And he said, listen, God, this is how it works, is you allow God to work in your situation, and you will become an instrument of healing for everyone else around you. Watch this. What you'll become, another better word maybe, is a conduit of healing. Look, that conduit doesn't have the answers. It's just a pipe that the answer runs through. And that's what your life will be. You're not going to be somebody's answer, but you are the tool. You are the instrument. You are the conduit. You are the pipe that God is running through to meet someone else's need. That doesn't mean you meet every need. You can't meet every need. People always want you to meet their need. They want you to give them everything you've got, but if you gave everyone everything you've got, you'd have nothing. You can't meet every need. Why? Because it's not your job. It's not your job to meet every need. It's your job to be faithful to what God called you to do, and after that, it's God's job to do His part. It's God's job to do His part. And I'm telling you, if you allow God to work in your life today, if you are frustrated and you need fixing, if you're like Hannah today and you've got those areas in your life that are frustrating you, they're hurting you, and they're areas that, and I understand, I know what it's like when you've got those areas that just, it's like you grieve over because you know that it can be different, but it's not. And so you're like, man, God, why? And you've got those hurts in your life. But I'm telling you, the second that you give that to God, the second that you give it up and stop trying to be your own answer. It's not easy because we want to be the answer. And those of you that are today, you're fixers. You're trying to fix somebody else, but you're frustrated because they won't be fixed. Then today, I'm going to just tell you, stop trying to fix them and let God do the fixing. Let God do what God was meant to do. You just be a conduit of His healing, a conduit of His power. And watch God turn you into an instrument. Turn you into something that He will play and others will follow. And man, I believe today that there is going to be just a breath in your life. I don't know today. I'm going to ask everybody to stand up on your feet. If you say today, that's me. If you say, man, that's me. I'm broken and I need to be fixed. I'm frustrated and I need to have my frustration fixed. Or maybe today you say, man, you know what? I'm a fixer, but I'm frustrated because the people I'm trying to fix won't be fixed. And you say, I'm tired of being a frustrated fixer, or I'm tired of being frustrated and I need to be fixed. If that's you tonight, I just want to see your hand. Let me see. Is that anybody in the building? And I knew it. You say, man, that's me. I need some fixing. I'm fixing to fix you. Let's get fixed tonight. If that's you, get out of your chair real quick. Come up to the front, and I believe God's going to give you a miracle. I wasn't going to do it, but I was just going to leave you at your chair. But I feel like today God is going to give you the breakthrough you're believing for, that there's going to be an answer tonight that you've been praying for, an answer you've been hoping for. And I believe tonight, man, there's a bunch of you tonight that God's going to heal. God's going to fix you tonight. God's going to fix what needs to be fixed. You say, man, I'm frustrated. Let's get that out of here. Let's get that frustration out. It's time to get fixed tonight. It's time to stop being frustrated. I don't know where you're frustrated. I don't know if it's at your job. I don't know if it's in your family. I don't know if it's where it's at. But wherever it is, I believe tonight there's going to be a fix. And it might not have anything to do with you. It might not be anything that you can do. You know what? That's a great place to be, is when you say, God, I can't do it. I don't know how. Good. Now God can. Now God can do what He knows how to do. Now God can fix what only He can fix.
To learn more, visit walterhallam.net. Here you'll find a list of resources to help you with your daily walk in Christ.